When you're going through what we were going through and keep bringing the same energy to keep believing in what you're doing, it's easy to question it. It's easy to point fingers. It's easy to branch off, and this group sticks together.
The men avoid the wrong side of history, snapping their 10-game losing streak.
While Diane, Richardson, and the women are on the right side of the AAC standings, sitting in a first-place tie as we officially enter late February.
And speaking of Coach Richardson, our timing is impeccable. We've got her live in studio this afternoon.
I'm Sam Covone, live from the Leah Corr Center. Coming up, I'll be taking a look into a call to action that is near and dear to the women's basketball team's heart, and I'll explain how you can join the movement.
And I'm Kylie O'Connor, live from the studio set. Throughout the show, I'll be talking about all things women hoops, from the AAC standings to scouting some upcoming games. Courts in Session is live, and it starts right now.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Courts in Session. I'm Jake Gable alongside Hayden Vandell, and boy do we have a good show for you today.
The men finally get a win, the first one since Courts in Session started airing this semester. And the women are on top. Diane Richardson's squad finds itself tied for first in the conference, and we have the head coach right here in studio to talk about this incredible turnaround in a few minutes. But highlights first. On Monday night, the Owls had an opportunity to move into a first-place tie in the American, also looking for their first three-game winning streak of the season in AAC play. The Owls hoping to ride the green wave. Temple beat Tulane at the end of January by 18 points on the road, and were looking for a season sweep against Tulane. Early transition offense for the Owls as Tiara East pulls up for the mid-range J. She had her first double-double of the season. Very next possession, Amira Mabry working down low on Rain Tucker and pushing it through. She finished recording her second double-double of the season. To the second quarter, where the Owls have been dominant as of late. Demi Washington banks it in off the glass to put Temple up by 6. She was one of 4 Owls in double figures. Tulane not going away easy though. Mabry gets it over to Martha Galich, who takes 2 dribbles and pulls up from the free throw line for the 2. Then on the next possession, Galich gonna control the ball, but then she loses it. Demi Washington is right there in front of her to scoop it up, and she finds Aaliyah Nelson, who leaks out to put Temple up 10 in the third. Tulane still trying to claw back in as Hannah Pratt trying to back down Tiara East and hits the fadeaway. Designed inbounds play for Aaliyah Nelson leads to her third three-pointer of the game, and this one put the Owls up double figures for good. Temple defeats Tulane 69-52 to take the season series.
The second and fourth quarters really stand out in favor of Temple, holding Tulane to just 6 fourth-quarter points. Nelson and Washington tied for the lead in scoring for the Owls with 16 apiece, while Gary and East had 12 points each. East made her presence felt on the glass as well, tying her career high in rebounds with 11. A key stat for the Owls, points from turnovers. Temple had 20, while Tulane only had 8. Mabry was the only member of the Green Wave in double figures with 18 points. After the win, Diane Richardson decided she wanted her entire starting 5 to join her in the post-game press conference.
It was a defensive effort that got us there, and you know I had been asking for consistency all season, and I think we're getting closer to being consistent defensively, and I think that is what got us over the hump and what got us this win, and I'm really excited about it.
We've worked hard all summer, all preseason to get to where we are right now. We've all believed it. Our whole team, we believed it from the jump. And so now we're just putting everything together and proving to people that we are one of the best. We are the top team in the league. And we're going to continue to prove that for the rest of the season.
To the game against Tulane, the Owls traveled down to Alabama to take on the UAB Blazers. Temple came into this matchup half a game behind UAB in the standings. Ashton Ely chucking the deep 3 for the lead. The Owls take back the lead, and Aaliyah Nelson extends it. Nelson hit 4 of her first 5 shot attempts. Temple on a 12-0 run in the second quarter. Nelson in transition dribbles through the entire other team and hits a wide-open Demi Washington for the layup. UAB hits one free throw to stop their scoring drought, but it doesn't help much as Nelson hits yet another three. Nelson had 15 points in the first half. On to the fourth quarter, Temple is still dominating, up 18 points. UAB starts to find some life. Mia Moore, no, not Maya Moore, takes it coast to coast for 2 of her 22 points. Temple not letting up. Inez Piper to Tiara East in transition. Blazers fighting to the last minute. Kylie Schneringer hits the jumper. UAB's trying to get the comeback, but it falls well short, however, as the Owls leap them in the standings. Temple gets the win on the road, 86-72.
The conference standings are jam-packed at the top right now, and those 2 wins certainly help Temple out.
Our very own Kylie O'Connor is live at the studio set to show us how the standings shake out as we enter the final 3 weeks of the regular season. Hey, Kylie.
Thanks, guys. The top of the AAC standings is so tight, even a weekend's worth of games can really shake things up at the top of the conference. And that includes where we see Temple. Look who is at the top. Yes, tied for first place. It is the Temple Owls. Winners in 5 of its last 6 games. The Owls and North Texas are both 9-4 in the AAC. North Texas has the tiebreaker, but the Owls are right there. Still, there's no time to rest. The top 5 teams in the AAC are all within 1 game of each other, so a lot can change in the next 2 weeks. Getting into that top 4 is vital. The best 4 teams in the AAC gets 2 byes right into the quarterfinals in the postseason tournament. My standout team of the week is an obvious one. 2 weeks ago, the Owls were 6-4 in conference play and were tied for 4th with 4 other teams. The current 9-4 record is much more impressive, with the Owls looking down at just about every team in the 14-team conference. The standings will continue to shift almost on a daily basis. Rice, UAB, and North Texas all play within the next 24 to 48 hours, so you can expect the top 4 to shift midweek. That's all I have for right now. Guys, it's back to you on the desk.
Thanks, Kylie. If timing is everything, we're right on point this week in Courts in Session. The Owls have won 5 of 6, so it's a perfect time to welcome in our guest, Diane Richardson.
Well, hello.
Coach, we normally have to come to your court, so thank you for coming into ours.
It's a nice one, too.
Thank you. Temple hasn't, since they joined the American 2012-13 season, they haven't won a regular season crown. What would that mean just for you and your entire team?
Well, it would be great. It would be great for our team. It would be great for the fans.
And then back in late November, you guys were on a 4 of 5 losing streak, and then since then, 13-5. What's been the difference from the early season struggles until now?
Well, I think we've finally gotten our defense together, and we're playing some great team defense. They're very active and aggressive defensively, and the defense turns into our offense.
Outside of personnel, what's been the biggest difference from year 1 to year 2 here on North Broad?
I think our culture is great. Our team has bonded, and we are here, and they're all committed and in.
And we always hear you talk about the equal opportunity offense. I'm curious, where did that come from, and where does it stem from? How did it start?
Well, we wanted everybody to be able to score. And that's been my goal with the assistants and the staff, is getting everybody better basketball players, because I expect everybody to score. And by doing that, it's hard for the defense to defend us or double team us because they don't know where the scoring is coming from.
Temple this season has the best turnover margin in the conference. Obviously, that comes with offense and good defense. What have you kind of seen from that, and do you prioritize one side of the ball more than the other?
Yeah, we've prioritized defense, and so we spend the bulk of our practice time on defense because we know defense gets us riled up, with that aggressive play, and then it gives us confidence on offense as well.
And then another question. Aaliyah, one of your star players, you guys knew each other before Temple. Can you tell us a little bit about that relationship?
Yeah, I've actually known Aaliyah since she was 10. So she's from the area I'm from, and so I watched her grow. I watched her in the summer basketball, AAU, and then, of course, in high school. And then we recruited her at my last stop at Towson, and she turned us down, unfortunately. But then she came back, and she went into the transfer portal, and she came to Towson and had a great career. And we have a really, really special relationship.
It's time to take a break, but we're not done with Coach Richardson just yet. She's going to stick around just a little bit longer.
Yeah, on the other side, we'll talk more basketball, but we'll also talk about Coach with her unusual path to becoming a head coach. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Courts in Session. Still with us is head coach of the Temple women's basketball team, Diane Richardson.
We talked a lot about what your team does on the floor. Now we're going to go off of the court.
Okay.
So, Coach, you used to run track, and not just do it for fun. You were really good at it and qualified for the Olympics and had the opportunity to go in 1980, but you couldn't have. Could you tell us a little bit more about that experience?
Yeah, it was great. You know, I played basketball and ran track in college, and to be quite honest, I think my track was better. But I qualified for the 1980 Olympic team, and we were all ready to go, but then the U.S. pulled out because it was in Russia, and so it was a political move, so we didn't get to go.
And Coach, let's go just away from sports in general. You used to be a businesswoman. You were a vice president at Bank of America, CEO and founder of RCI Financial, among many other hats. Can you just talk about why you entered the business world and what made you want to leave it to go coach basketball?
Well, business, you know, I got my master's degree in finance, and I had been in banking for a while and enjoyed it and started a firm and was really, really successful. And in doing that, I knew that basketball got me into college, and I got a scholarship, and I wouldn't have been able to go. So my husband and I started donating money to local programs in the city for young girls to be able to play basketball in rec centers and AAU. And I would go to a couple practices and just watch, and I remember the relationship I had with coaching and how it opened so many doors for me. And I jumped in and started coaching, and I enjoyed it. And, you know, did it for a couple years part-time, and then I told my husband, I really enjoy this. I think I want to do it full-time.
Now, you don't just coach the women on your team. You have 3 biological children of your own and then an adopted daughter who just so happens to be the 2021 WNBA MVP, Jonquel Jones. How do you balance all of that?
Well, it's been great. I mean, you know, she came over, we brought her over from the Bahamas, and she played for me in high school. And it just kind of developed there, just kept training her, and then she eventually came to the college where I was coaching as an assistant. And she worked really hard, and she's doing a great job in the league. And my other 3 children are awesome as well. So it's been a great life for me.
Well, Coach, thank you so much for joining us. It's been great getting to chat with you, and we wish you best of luck for the remainder of the season.
Yeah, good luck the rest of the way.
Thank you so much, and go Owls.
So the Owls kicked off what is now a 3-game winning streak with a victory over South Florida, but that game meant much more to the Owls than just a win.
Courts in Session beat reporter Sam Covone joins us live at the Leah Center to explain. Hey, Sam.
Hey guys, 1 in 2 women will develop some form of cancer in their lifetime. The Kay Yow Cancer Fund is dedicated to supporting women suffering from all forms of cancer by giving them strength and hope. For the women's basketball team, this cause hits home. It's a cause that is bigger than basketball.
I wouldn't want to lead a team that doesn't support this cause.
The Play for Kay Foundation is named after longtime head coach Sandra Kay Yow, who passed away in 2009 after 22 years battling breast cancer. The goal of this foundation is to bring players, coaches, and fans together to honor those with cancer. The Play for Kay game helps raise money for the Kay Yow Cancer Fund. Coach Diane Richardson knew Coach Yow and prioritizes this fund and her memory with a Play for Kay game each season. This year's Play for Kay game took place on February 10th against USF, where fans could see pink throughout the Leah Center.
I want to show up for her. I want to show up for her cause. We need to show up for her and show up for all those others that are affected by cancer.
Coach Richardson is not the only one with a personal connection to this cause. Many players on the team have family members who have suffered from various types of cancer. Aaliyah Nelson's mom is a breast cancer survivor.
I think it's just important to me, and like for all the other survivors, I have a lot of teammates who I play with that have known somebody who has either like passed away from cancer or is like a survivor now.
So far, the Play for Kay Foundation has raised $8 million nationwide. Coach Richardson is continuing to work with the KEL Foundation by bringing a grant to the city of Philadelphia. The grant will provide funds for mammograms for those that cannot afford it. For more information on hosting a Play for K game, please go to KEL.com/playforK. Don't go anywhere. When we return, Jake and Hayden will be breaking down the men's first win in over a month. Courts in Session will be back in 90 seconds.
Welcome back to Courts in Session. The men's team has been going through a historic rough patch as of late. Heading into its game against UTSA, the Owls had lost 10 straight. One more would tie the program record. Normally, breaking records is a good thing, but the Owls try not to against the Roadrunners. Early in the first half, pass inside to Jordan Riley, no good. UTSA gets it, then loses it, and whoop! Riley spins cycle and redeems himself. A few plays later, Hyzier Miller getting it to Steve Settle for the three and his 1,000th point. No, not of the game, of his career. UTSA was cooking. Jordan Ivy Curry. When your name has Jordan and Curry in it, you better be good at basketball. UTS leads at half 41-34. Second half, shot clock winding down, and PJ Carter hits one of his 3 threes of the game. Carter again, this time finding Ivy Curry, who loses it. UTSA only had 8 turnovers, but Temple turned those into 13 points, including this Zion Stanford layup. Temple goes on an 11-0 run to take the lead, 68-67. Owls lead under 5 minutes to go, and Miller finds White for the alley-oop slam. UTSA trailing, Carter hits another 3 to try and will his team back in this one, but the Owls hold off the Roadrunners and get the win, breaking the 10-game losing streak. Temple wins 83-77.
Hyzier Miller poured in 20-plus points for the 7th time this season. Temple had great ball control, turning over the ball only 6 times. Over the past 3 games, the Owls have had a total of 20 turnovers, the best in a 3-game span since the 2015-16 season. Temple shot an astounding 53% from the field in the second half to secure its first victory after trailing at halftime. Jordan Ivy Curry had a game-high 22 points off the bench for the Roadrunners.
Something days to keep coming to work when you're going through what we were going through and keep bringing the same energy, to keep believing in what you're doing. It's easy to question it. It's easy to point fingers. It's easy to branch off, and this group sticks together. I think we've all seen that all season. We fought, and today was no different.
I think the guys just believed in the work that we put in, and we knew that we didn't close the half out really well, and then we had another lapse in the first half where we kind of let them get back into the game. But, I mean, we knew that we wanted to close this game out and what we had to do, so guys just came out focused and played assertive.
Steve Settle, whose birthday is today, passed the 1,000-point mark in the win against UTSA. Prior to Temple, Settle played in 66 games at Howard University, racking up over 800 points. Last year, Settle and the Bison made the NCAA tournament as a 16th seed. This season at Temple, Settle is averaging 9 points per game. It's the first time the men have gotten a win in over a month. Let's dive deeper into the W against UTSA. Now, I think this was a pretty quality win for the Owls. They were finally able to get several players to step up offensively. 4 different Owls in double figures, Hyzier Miller leading the way with 20 points. I thought the Owls finally put together a good offensive performance, putting up 83 points.
Yeah, Jake, I kind of disagree with you. I think that this is a win that we saw coming. UTSA is not that talented. I know they lost their starting point guard due to ejection, but I think Temple still has more talent. It's the team, the last 2 seasons, they've gone 10-22 overall. This year, they had the same record as the Owl going into that game as 8-17.
Yeah, I mean, you make a good point, but at the same time, they had to still do the things to get the win. Like, it's not just handed to you, even if it is a favorable matchup.
Well, I think that UTSA allowed 83 points against Temple, which is what they're averaging. UTSA has the worst defense in college basketball, Jake, and Temple still just put up the same numbers that they average per game. I don't think they did anything special.
It's just that Temple was so close the prior games. They went to overtime twice during that 10-game losing streak. I think getting over the hump was just a really good thing for them. But you're right, it wasn't the best team.
Well, the game prior to that, the Temple played FAU last Thursday on the road in Boca Raton. The Owls from the north and the Owls from down south. Mateo Piccarelli going to get the scoring started from downtown. Then Elijah Martin going right through the Temple guard, Jaleel White. He finished with 16 in the contest. Now Temple facing its largest deficit of the game, but Jordan Riley is quickly going to put a stop to that, going up and under over Giancarlo Rosado. There is no one taller in the conference than Vlad Golden, and watch him back down to Emmanuel Okpomo, and he's going to baptize the big man with an emphatic 2. To the second half, Temple now down 6. A cutting Piccarelli and a dime inside from Steve Settle, his only assist of the game. Offensive rebound, no good. Zion Stanford can't get up with it. Hot potato, it's up in the air. Who wants it more? I'll tell you who. Jordan Riley, get up there. Temple only had 4 turnovers all game in the second half, but this was a costly one from Hyseer Miller. It's Brandon Witherspoon who ends up with it, and he will match a career high with his 4th triple of the night. To put FAU up more, Jaleel White trying to knock something down and gets the fadeaway to go, but a 16-4 FAU run was way too much. The Southern Owls beat the Northern Owls 80-68.
We're coming up on our last break of the day. Coming up, Kylie O'Connor will break down Temple's upcoming matchups.
Kylie will break down a team the men are looking to sweep and highlight the women's weekend matchup. Stick around. Welcome back to Courts in Session. Both teams have just 5 games remaining before the conference tournament.
Courts in Session beat reporter Kylie O'Connor is back at the studio set to break down some of these future opponents. Hey, Kylie.
Thanks, guys. On Sunday, the Owls will travel down to Houston, Texas to take on the Rice Owls. Rice is 15-10 overall and 9-5 in conference play. As an offensive grade, I'd have to give them a B+. These Owls have about a 41% field goal percentage, which sits 6th in the AAC, and are also 6th in placing average 69 points per game. Now, as a defensive grade, I'll give them a B. They're tied for 5th in the conference, giving up about 63 points per game while holding their opponent's field goal percentage to around 40%. I predict this game will be a close game between all of these Owls. And when it's your toss-up, you tend to favor the home team, even though the Temple Owls are 5-4 on the road this year. Now, moving on to the men's side of things. They take a trip to Kansas on Sunday as well to play the Wichita State Shockers. The Shockers are 10-16 overall and 11 in conference play. For their offense, I give them a D+. They rank 10th in scoring in the AAC, averaging roughly 70 points per game, and 11th in margins being at -1.5. But they do rank 6th for their field goal percentage at roughly 45%. For the defense, I give them a C+. They do rank 1st in defensive rebounds at about 28 per game, but are ranked 8th in letting the opposing team score roughly 74 points per game. Temple hasn't won a road game since early December. This game might be their last best chance. That's all I have for today. Guys, it's back to you on the desk.
Well, Hayden, that wraps up a very eventful show today. Coach Richardson came on and the men finished their losing streak.
Certainly was fun, but that's all the time we have. For our executive producer, Matt Fine, our producers, Sam Masson and Jacob Smedley, and the entire Courts in Session crew, I'm Hayden Bandel. He's Jake Gable. We'll see you guys next week.